Hey everybody, in the spirit of plugging away, I wanted to talk about something. You know, with all the information coming at you from all sides and all the frustrations, I wanted to say something. You know, I mentioned that in trying to figure out what's going on with the chicken. Say you got this lady contacted me about a chicken health issue, and she had tried all these things and she didn't know quite what was going on, so she was trying this. She was giving it a shotgun approach, and she didn't really know what to do, and the chicken was getting worse, and she eventually died. And I said, well, you learned something in doing all this, and you couldn't have saved her anyway. But when you don't know what's going on and you've done all this stuff and you're getting confused about what's going on, stop right there. Go back to the basics. Go back to the beginning, go back to the basics, and go with what do you know? What is it that you actually know that you know? And start with the most basic supportive care. Start there. And don't do anything else that you don't know is going to help. So that is what I was talking about in the, I want to make an analogy there. Let's go back to the basics, okay? Freedom of a religion as a fundamental was why the Pilgrims left England. They were separatists from the Anglican Church. They saw the break from the Catholic Church that happened in 1535 wasn't enough. And they saw that instead of a pope, the Anglican Church had substituted the king as a religious head. So that was the fundamental reason that they were leaving. They were sick of a king telling them what to think, feel, do, act like, and how to worship. So now here, the governors and other leaders are using their fascist thumbs trying to put us back under some sort of crown rule. Democratic governors. And if the rhinos are guilty of that, then they're a part of that too. But America was founded on a single principle: freedom. True liberty requires us to always be vigilant. The Founding Fathers understood that even a limited government would be looking for ways to acquire power over the lives of citizens. It's just kind of human nature for the power hungry. We need no further evidence of this than our current government. And they've been given a far greater scope than even our founders would have tolerated. I mean, even a little tea tax got them all riled up and revolting. So, like I said, liberty, freedom is hard to win. It's hard won. It's hard to get, and it's hard to maintain, and it's extremely easy to lose. This is what the Founding Fathers believed, and that's what they knew. That's why the Constitution. But I wanted to say a few quotes from some of our Founding Fathers, and I wrote them down or typed them out so I could actually quote them properly. You've probably heard some of them. John Adams, to his wife, said, "But a constitution of government once changed from freedom can never be restored. Liberty, once lost, is lost forever." That's a pretty bold statement. Edmund Burke, at a speech in Buckinghamshire, said, "The people never give up their liberties, but under some delusion." And of course, the very famous, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety," Benjamin Franklin. Thomas Paine said, "He that would make his own liberty secure must guard even his enemy from oppression, for if he violates this duty, he establishes a precedent that will reach to himself." And right here, we have an example. This election fraud, these shenanigans, this treason. We're trying to guard everyone from this, including anybody who votes for other than Republican candidates, because it's going to get turned back on them. We're trying to guard freedom for everybody, not just the Republicans, people. This is not just a Republican-Democrat issue. If you think it is, you are totally missing the point. Thomas Jefferson said, "We are not to expect to be translated from despotism to liberty in a feather bed," meaning it's not easy. It's a tough road. He also said, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is natural manure." That's what we mean by hard-won. It was bought with blood, and we're going to keep it with blood. And I'm afraid pretty soon there's going to be bloodshed on the ground of the United States. And of course, Thomas Paine said, "Those who expect to reap the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigues of supporting it." You have to keep it going. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. You have to keep it going. So what I'm seeing right now is one of our parties is kind of like the English crown trying to reassert itself. The crown we escaped from to make this country what it is. They want to take our liberties, tell us what to do, think, feel, and how and when to worship, or worse, tell us we can't. Like our founders, you know, we're not going to submit to unconstitutional laws and edicts that are not even laws. These are not laws. Because one man says you have to do this, this does not make it a law. That doesn't make it a law. We must practice civil disobedience. This country was founded because of civil disobedience. It's what Rosa Parks did. Look what she accomplished with civil disobedience. She bucked an unconstitutional and unjust law. You've got to revolt against the propaganda. For instance, this morning, ABC News said 80% of intensive care units are full. They're trying to tell you how horrible this new wave of COVID is, if it even is a new wave. Someone has suggested that it is not a new wave, that it's actually a second virus that's been released, and that the vaccine is for the second virus, and that only the sheep are going to get it. The obedient sheep are going to line up for this vaccine, scared by this virus, that fear will do a lot. Fear will make you do a lot of things, and that this way they are trying to get rid of the free thinkers and the patriots, because they'll be left with the obedient sheep. I don't know if that's true. It was on another channel, and I can't give you the reference, because she couldn't give you the reference, because she read it and she showed it on the screen and she couldn't link to it. And I have a feeling if I linked to it, the channel would be gone. But, for instance, ABC News says 80% of intensive care units are full. They imply that it was because of coronavirus. But if you think about it, intensive care units only have like 3 or 4 beds in an intensive care unit. We're not talking about the emergency room, we're talking about the intensive care unit. And of course we still have car accidents and the flu and other things happening that people will be in intensive care units for. So 80% of intensive care units full says nothing about this virus. It says 0 about this virus. So they're misleading you to believe how horrible this is, how scary, and oh my God, well, you got to get this vaccine. All they've talked about all morning was vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. You've got to practice civil disobedience. Don't comply with gun control measures. Hide your weapons, people. Don't give them up. You'll never get them back. Don't give them up. It's unconstitutional for them to take them. We still have a constitution. Make your own medical decisions. This is not the government's purview to make your medical decisions, ever. Dr. Robert Petrella, an Italian doctor, his platform on YouTube was banned. You can still find his video on BitChute. I would highly suggest you look at Dr. Robert Petrella. It is in Italian. It is closed captioned. It was his video on the testing and the vax. I would advise you listen to what he had to say. But as you know, another good quote from one of our founding fathers is, all evil needs to triumph is for good men to do nothing. So take a stand. Take a stand. If you're wearing a mask just because you were told to do it, because of mandates, not laws, mandates, edicts, but you don't believe it protects you and you're just doing it because you were told to do it, if you're not going to rise up and push back, if you can't push back on that one simple thing of making your own medical decisions or even writing a letter to your state representative, how are you going to push back when it comes to shedding blood? People talk big. They do talk big. But if you can't buck the mask mandate, what the heck are you going to do when it comes down to real action? You start with small steps. You get bolder, and remember our forefathers, what they fought and died for was the freedom that's been afforded to you, the life that you and your families have enjoyed because of the freedom, but because of the forefathers, because of the Constitution. Remember that when you stick a face diaper on. Remember that you are no longer free when you do that against your will. When you don't go to church because some bureaucrat has told you you can't, even though by Constitution they have violated your rights, right of assembly, right of worship. When you don't go to church because they've told you not to, you're bowing to tyranny. Are you a good man, allowing evil to triumph? Are you an aid to the evil crown? Are you a loyalist? During the American Revolutionary War, the ones who remained loyal to the British crown were called loyalists. Are you a patriot or are you a loyalist? Which is a traitor to freedom. Are we all, I'm afraid we're all going to soon forget what it means to be truly alive and free. You think it can't happen? Oh, honey, it can happen. And it's well on its way. If you allow these people to keep directing your life, every aspect of your life. There's a series I came across, and I linked to it on my community section, by Zachary Denman. He's a Brit. On YouTube, it's a short series, a series of very short mini movies. It's labeled as dystopian sci-fi, but I have a feeling it was done that way for a particular reason. It's not science fiction. It's really a documentary on our future if we don't push back, and we don't push back hard, and we don't push back now. I would definitely watch those series. There's, I don't know, maybe 10 little short clips. They're like 4 or 5 minutes long is all they are, but they're excellent and they're very disturbing. And it's like a little short movie, and it's taking place in London, but it's excellent. So watch those if you have a chance. Zachary Denman. So that's all I have to say today, and I'm freezing to death, so I'm going to go in the house, but I'll talk to y'all later. Stay free, everybody.